AOC seems to be having a really fun time for her winter vacation. She's gone down to Florida. She's partying it up, which, would be fine, except for the fact that all of her constituents back in New York are suffering under the harsh COVID restrictions, the harsh mask mandates, vaccine mandates. There's the vaccine key to the city now where you can't get into like dining or gyms or entertainment. You can't see any
5 years old and up, right?
Yeah, they just changed it in December to 5 years old and up. You have to have at least one dose. 12 years old and up, you have to have 2 vaccine doses, and you have to be able to prove it. And New York City is asking all of its fine citizens to report on one another if any businesses aren't following the rules. Very Soviet Union-esque, just warms the heart in December. But yeah, AOC, so she was seen in Florida, maskless, just hanging out with her boyfriend. I'm not sure what their relationship status is at the moment, but we have a picture for you, a tweet that got put out. She got a lot of criticism for this, obviously, because her constituents have to mask up. They have to vaccinate, and she's going to a place where freedom and liberty are much more of a concern to the establishment down there. Yeah, if you could see that picture on the right, that's AOC and her boo, just chilling.
America's latest Birkenstock model.
Having a great time. And AOC's response to the criticism was pretty interesting. She basically said, Republicans just want to have sex with me. It's not that I'm being a hypocrite. It's that Republicans want to have sex with me. She said it in that tweet there, which is just hilarious. She's done this a number of times. I don't quite remember when in the past. I think she did it with Ben Shapiro when he challenged her to debate him. But she always goes to, Republicans find me so attractive, and that's why they criticize me, because they're so obsessed with me. Probably not the best tactic for a elected official to take whenever he or she receives criticism.
She signed up for this. I think that's an important thing that we all need to remember and keep in mind. It's not like somebody, just dropped her in this position and this is all just like so fast and sudden. Like she's some new pop star who had a top 40 single. Yeah. Like she not only has become a public figure voluntarily, she's increased that spotlight with what she has said and what she has done. She has garnered that additional attention and used it for her own ends.
Oh, yeah.
So all of a sudden, when that same attention comes back and bites her for something that she is doing, then she acts like, well, I'm insulated to criticism. This is all rooted in, sexism and misogyny and lustfulness, evidently.
Well, yeah, that's the go-to. What do you think, Abby, about the story?
It's honestly just so juvenile. Like, what her whole comments of the situation, it's kind of like listening to like a 16-year-old girl in high school.
Yes.
Of like, all the boys hate me because actually secretly they have crushes on me. And it's just really nonsensical. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and a lot of conservatives took to Twitter to point that out, and we have a couple of those tweets which I thought were especially juicy that we're going to pull up for you guys right now. I'm going to pull those up. One from Allie Beth Stuckey and another from Candace Owens.
Oh, man, the Candace tweet is blistering.
And Allie Beth Stuckey is my favorite conservative female commentator, by the way. She's the best. And she said, people, kind of weird that while New York kids are being forced to eat lunches in 30-degree weather because of COVID, AOC is vacationing in free Florida, the state Dems have criticized the most. AOC, what I'm hearing you say is that you're upset you can't have sex with me. Just a pretty good recap of what took place this past week. And then we have another really good tweet from Candace Owens.
Yeah, this one is blistering.
You just want to have sex with me is potentially the filthiest, most immature response I've ever heard uttered from an elected official that is facing critique. She's quite literally creating a Republican sexual fantasy about herself. Hashtag AOC meltdown. Now, George Upper, our editor-in-chief, who is on the show quite often, he loves to play this game called Dumb or Dishonest.
Yeah, this is a good one. One of my favorites.
Like, I've found that most stories you can play the Dumb or Dishonest game, and it's pretty fun. This one especially, because I'm actually not sure. I'm kind of in the middle. I don't know whether she's dumb and she doesn't understand that what she's doing is hypocritical to go vacation in Florida, or if she is dishonest and, she knows that places like Florida are where people want to be, where she's going to have more fun in Florida, so she goes down there to vacation a bit. So what do you guys think? Abby, how about you go first? Yeah. Is she dumb or dishonest?
I think she's a little bit of both. But I think dishonesty overall, I think that she's also like completely embodying the principle that's been, completely dominating the left of the rules are for the little people. The rules are for the servants. And it doesn't apply to us rulers.
Right.
It's like, that's exactly what she's living in. It's like the ultimate dishonest fantasy, as well as just immaturity and I think a little stupidity. So I think it's kind of all of it.
What do you think, Caleb?
I think it's dumb. And the thing that sticks out in my mind when I think about this is, remember when Ted Cruz supposedly was going to go to Cancun in the middle of the Texas freeze?
Right.
How the entire left melted down. And we're like, this guy's a disgrace to the union.
It's a pretty big deal.
How is he, an elected official? And what your, own feelings on what Ted Cruz did or didn't do, I think it's your own personal prerogative.
Yeah.
But again, it's this double standard where she's like leading the charge to go after him, and then she's the one that engages in the same type of behavior. A year later, you could argue under worse circumstances, and she's like, well, it's all rooted in misogyny. None of this criticism is warranted at all. It's dumb to me.
It doesn't make any sense. And, back in her home state, her home city, her congressional district, which is kind of in the Bronx and the Queens kind of area, like we were saying earlier, the vaccination rules, they're pretty out of control. Like,
they're like the toughest in the
you have
country.
to be vaccinated to eat. Allie Beth Stuckey said kids were eating in 30-degree weather. It's because if you're 5 years old and up and you don't have a vaccine dose, you can't eat indoors anywhere without breaking the law.